This afternoon, we're going to talk about the purpose of life. And let me be honest with you, it kind of took me a long time to come up with that answer. Because all my life, people have been telling me what their purpose of life is. When I was 10 years old, my primary school teacher said in class, life, whether we like it or not, is a forest of wooden buckets. And in order to thrive, you need a bucket that holds a lot of water. And in order to hold a lot of water, each of these wooden planks, just imagine the bucket, must be equally tall. Not only the tallest planks, but also the shortest planks. And if one plank is too short, it will affect the entire bucket, causing water to leak out. Now, I think some of you have heard of the phrase 木桶原理, the theory of wooden buckets. But I think most of you have heard another phrase, 多质体全面发展, all-rounded development in morality, intelligence, and physique. Now, that was a very big challenge for me because in school, I was always the shortest kid in my class. So it's very hard to excel at sports. This one time, my teacher said in class out loud to everyone in the room, Stephen, look, you're not good at sports. And if you don't change that, you will exist as a failed bucket without any water. Now, for some of my classmates, my taller classmates, this would mean a reason to push me to the ground or dump all my textbooks into the trash can. As I, or that short plank of wood they wanted to get rid of. Sometimes I'd come home with red scratches on the back of my neck. And when my mom asked me if I needed to go to the hospital, I would just say, it's an injury from falling down the stairs. And I would climb back to my bed crying at night, as if the tears or the water leaking out of my failed wooden bucket. 8 years later, I was 18. I was in university. My major was computer science. Anyone?
Me.
A few of you. Okay, cool. But my number one hobby was a traditional board game called 围棋. Okay. So that meant when my classmates were busy compiling their resumes and getting into internships, I was busy traveling to all kinds of 围棋 tournaments and getting to know all friends around the world. That was my passion at the time. But my friends and family, they didn't share my passion. They told me, Stephen, you can't start your career based on a hobby. Just, be normal. Just code or be a programmer, make lots of money instead. And that was when I really rebelled. And I thought, one day, I'm going to leave this stinking forest. Instead, I'm going to be a tall plank of wood that is too long to be cut, too outstanding to be ignored, and too persistent to be destroyed. And 4 years later, I graduated from college. And my first job offer was from a small startup company specializing in 围棋 products and services. Oh, that suits me. So you see, my hobby had become a job. And had I stayed in that forest, I would have been lost by now. What do you want to be, ladies and gentlemen? Do you want to become a well-rounded bucket or a tall plank of wood? Second one. That's what I thought too. 4 years later, I was 28, and my company had celebrated its 5th anniversary. So everything was going great, it was going well, but something worrying was beneath the surface. We all knew that that year we were heading into an economic recession, and when the storm hit the forest, those small businesses like ours would be the first to go. And up until that point, I had been very happy with just being a very tall plank of wood, being good at the one thing that I did, writing, creating content. But my boss did something unthinkable. He said, Stephen, you should go back into engineering and check the company's finances. Okay, I'll do that. And when I did that, the results were shocking. Our company was very inefficient. In our engineering team, we spent lots of money in places where we didn't need. And it was very clear that water was leaking out of our failing wooden bucket. And if we didn't get rid of these short planks that affect us, it'll be all over. And let me be honest, getting rid of stuff is never easy. It's hard to say goodbye than it is to say hello. Okay? But when 1 year later, when the storm had settled, we found ourselves in a better position. We didn't get rich, but our essential services that we kept were enough to keep us running. So you see, by fixing our short planks, we became more well-rounded. And we have enough water to survive in that forest. And you know, the funny thing is, I even started really practicing my programming skills. And I even started going back to the gym. And you know what I realized? My primary school teacher from all those years ago, in some ways, she was right. So, it took me 18 years to learn the ways of the forest, from age 10 to 18, 22, 26, and now. Life, whether we like it or not, is indeed a forest of wooden buckets. But all of us, as talented, as uniquely irreplaceable as we are, can choose to define our purpose. I'm not asking you to find one singular answer here. If you want to be a well-rounded bucket, then by all means, be happy with the amount of water you have, because many people are jealous of that. And if you want to become a tall plank of wood, then by all means, ditch your fears and reach out to other fellow tall planks of wood in your life, so that you don't just build a bucket, you can build a tower. In any case, you can define your own purpose. And as for me, my purpose now is to help people find their strengths, strengthen their weaknesses, and to help them become a more successful bucket or long plank of wood. Now, it took me 18 years to learn the ways of the forest. But for you, I think today, if you do everything right, it will take you much less time. And based on what's about to happen next in this event, I think our InspireTalk event will become a thriving forest of wooden buckets. Thank you very much.
记得点赞关注哦。